How do you feel about the emails you're sending right now? Are they having the effect that you want them to have? Do they result in sales and conversations with your readers? If not, it's time to experiment. As you know, as I talked about in a recent podcast episode, I think it's so important for you to get consistent this year with your marketing. So today I'm going to share 9 kinds of emails you could be sending for your handmade business. This is Explore Your Enthusiasm with me, Tara Swiger, where we explore the intersection of making art and making money. Welcome to Explore Your Enthusiasm with me, Tara Swiger. This is episode 140, and you can find today's transcript at taraswiger.com/podcast40. And if you haven't picked up my newest book, Map Your Business, which will help you turn your business goals into a doable plan, it is now out. So you can find it wherever books are sold online or at taraswiger.com/mapyobiz. So it's taraswiger.com/mapyobiz for the links to both buy it on my own site and Amazon and anywhere you want to get it. So last week in the Starship chat, someone was asking about sending emails and how they could make them more effective at getting sales. So she was sending the emails, but she wanted to make them more effective. So I said, well, you can experiment with different kinds of emails and then stick with whatever works best. You don't have to get it right from the start. Watch the results and, change it up and then stick with what works best. And she said, so can I ask the question, what are different kinds of emails? Like I can't think of what different kinds of emails would be. And off the top of my head, I rattled off a list and other captains pitched in their own ideas. And after a few minutes, someone said, you should totally make a podcast episode about this. So here we are, 9 different emails you can send to increase your consistency and to increase your sales. But first, we need to get clear about some terminology. So when I said the Starship and Captains, I'm talking about my online community where we hold a weekly live text chat at 2 different times. And the Starship is closed now, but if you're interested in joining a community where we talk about things like this, you can find more out at taraswiger.com/starshipbiz. So this is where the conversation took place. Captains are the members of the Starship. Now, the next term you need to know are emails. When I'm talking about emails, I don't mean you're in Gmail or Yahoo and you're sending it from your inbox to someone else's. I mean a service they use like MailChimp to collect and maintain a list of names of people who have signed up because they want to hear from you. Now, if you are keeping track of this in Gmail or a spreadsheet, you want to move this into a service so that you can stay in line with all of the laws that regulate email marketing. There are some big laws in the States and Canada, I know for sure, about how you can send these emails and what you have to include in them. And MailChimp, or I use ConvertKit, but MailChimp's probably the best because it's free for under 2,000 subscribers. So if you're just getting started, use MailChimp. And they give you forms so that people can sign up. They'll make sure that you are lawful in all of that you do. And so people sign up for these emails and they sign up either on your site or they sign up in person. They sign themselves up. And then you consistently go in and send that list of people messages regularly. They get the email, they open it, they click, they go to your shop. Now that's how it should work, but I know it is easy to feel like it's not working. But let me say this, no matter how few people you have on your list, even if it's 2 people that have signed up because they want to hear from you, you are leaving money and sales and relationships on the table if you don't send them emails. They signed up because they wanted to hear from you, so you need to communicate with them. Now, if your question is how do you get more people on your list, or if an email list is even right for your specific kind of business, Jolie and I are going to help you figure this out in our upcoming class, Elevate Your Business, which you can find at taraswiger.com/elevate. So I'm telling you about it now because the doors close to this class on January 23rd. Now, if you're sending emails or you want to send emails, but you're just not being consistent, I'm going to give you 9 different kinds of emails you can try, and we'll talk about each of them a little bit. Now, this is specifically for your handmade product-based business. If you're selling teaching and classes, you might want to change this up a little bit. So you're going to hear ideas that aren't necessarily what I send because I have a different kind of business than what you have. So number one, you can always send a here's what's in the shop email where you have pictures of several products and links to them. Now, if you use something like Shopify or Etsy and MailChimp hooks into those and will actually pull and populate from your most recent or whatever you tell it to pull from that's already in your shop. And when people click on it, they'll be taken right to that product. So that's the first kind of email. I think most of you know about that. And this is what's in the shop, either this week, this month, here's what's new. There's also the kind of email that says, here are what resources you might like. Now, Abby Glassenberg at While She Naps sends an email like this. She links to sewing stories, blogging stories, and I think small business stories. In other words, she's giving you resources or links that you might really enjoy. So that is a kind of email you can send, or resources that your readers are going to like. Now, I want you to think hard about who your readers are. So if your readers, if your customers are buying your finished jewelry, then they don't want to read links about making jewelry. They want to read links about taking care of jewelry or storing jewelry or wearing jewelry or being fashionable or about a certain color. So when you think about what resources are good for them, don't just think about what you've been reading, but what a customer of your thing would want to read. Now, the third kind of email it's a kind of a twist on what's in the shop. As opposed to just saying what's in the shop, you could say, here's what I've created for you in terms of content, which would be like the emails I send where I tell you about the recent podcast episode and give you the transcript or the worksheets that I created for that podcast episode. And this is part of the reason why you hear people talk about creating content, having a blog or a podcast or a regular video series, because it gives you something to email and talk about on social media like Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, and to email about that isn't just you selling stuff. It's you being a resource, you teaching your people something or telling them something they want to know, and you can then send them an email linking them to that most recent content. So how it often works is that you create content, say one of the Starship captains, Tawny of Sundrop Jewelry, she has a blog post about how to clean your silver because she sells silver jewelry. So she has that blog post. Now she can email her people and she can post on Instagram about that blog post. And in that blog post, hopefully, I haven't checked, but hopefully she links to her products that are then made out of silver. So instead of emailing just about your products, you're emailing about something useful, which makes the people more likely to open your email. So I do a mix of, I send emails with the most recent podcast episodes. And if I have a class or a program or the Starship is closing, I also send an email to let you know this stuff is closing. But most of my emails are, here's this thing I think is really going to help you. And it's a content or podcast that I've created. Now, 4, you can also send basically a sales page, whatever is one full product description, or in my case, a description of a class. You can send that in an email form. And that will give them all of the information about the product. It will link to one product. Now, a lot of my people find this really useful because you're giving people fewer things to choose from, so they can open it, see the picture, read the product description, decide if it's for them or not, buy, not buy. Make sure you have a buy button there so they can click on it and buy it. Now, the 5th email is what I call in my own business, your invitation to. So in the 4th one, you're saying, this is what's for sale, this is what you can get. In the 5th one, it's just a little twist on that where you say you're invited to XYZ. So if you're having a sale, this is your invitation to the sale. If you are having, for me, when a class or a program, or I recently did a pre-order for the book Map Your Business, when that opened, the email I sent was your invitation to this pre-order. I explained the entire pre-order, which is kind of like a sales page, in that I told them everything they would be getting, everything that would be included. I told them why I thought they might want to pre-order, and then I said, you can get it right here. And I make that exclusive to my email list before I tell the rest of the world about it, which might be if you're just a podcast listener, you didn't even know that my book had a pre-order bundle. I gave that to email subscribers. And if you sign up on any of the forms on my website, the big pink box, or to get the transcripts, you're going to get that invitation. So if you're doing something special, send an invitation to that special thing you're doing. And the special thing can be a sale, it can be a Black Friday deal, it can be a bundle, it can be a matching set if you sell jewelry. Now, another kind of email you can send is a how-to or tutorial. So the stuff that people use to put on blogs or podcasts or videos, you can put in your email. So in the example from Sundrop Jewelry, how to clean your silver, you could put that, actually how to clean your silver, in an email and send it. I've created e-courses where I teach you like Biz Confidence or Month of Biz Love, or there's a couple more, where I actually teach you how to do something over the course of my emails. And that, like back in the day when I sold yarn, I did like 5 patterns to make with hand spun yarn. And each email was a different pattern and talking about the things to keep in mind with hand spun yarn or how to knit with hand spun yarn, stuff like that. So that's a how-to email. Those are super, super good at providing something for your customers so they get in the habit of opening your emails. Now, the 7th one, and this idea actually also comes from Tawny. She was in that Starship chat and she was full of good ideas, is a customer profile. So you can highlight one of your customers, your buyers, your best people in your email, and people love that. This is actually a suggestion I always make to yarn store owners whenever I teach them, is you have people coming into your shop every day who are wearing their hand knit goodness. Take a picture of them, feature them in your email, and they are going to be so flattered and so excited. And your readers are going to say, oh, people actually go into that yarn shop. People actually buy that product. So you can profile if someone has, say, bought your pillows and then taken pictures and put on Instagram the pictures of your pillows on their couch. You can feature that, ask them, I'd love to feature you in my email, feature them in your email, and show like this is one way of using the couches. So that not only provides social proof that people are actually buying from you, but it also lets people see the different ways your thing can be used. So whether it's a couch in someone's home, whether it's a necklace on someone's neck, whether it is your pattern or your yarn or your supplies being used in a specific way. Now, if you are a knitwear designer or any kind of designer, sewing designer, knitwear designer, crochet, or you're a maker of supplies like fabric or yarn, then definitely show projects people have made with your thing. So that could be all you do in your email is, here is Tara's, I forget what this sweater is called that I'm wearing today. Here's Tara's version of my pattern. See how she changed this is now hearts here. It wasn't hearts in the pattern and she used these colors. Tara says she wears it, blah, blah, blah. If you put that in your newsletter, then you would link to your own pattern. So like get your pattern here, and it's like a description or a sales page version of an email, except that you've not featured yourself. You've featured one of your people. Your people are going to love that. Both the person who's featured is going to be so delighted. Your others are going to say, oh, somebody made that pattern and it looks good. So, okay, I'll buy it. So it's huge, huge for supply makers or pattern makers. But you can also do it if you sell jewelry, if you sell house goods, if you sell art that people hang on the wall, have them show it hanging on the wall. Now, the 8th idea is you can highlight a specific product or color just because, or tied into something that's happening. So Tawny's suggestion was that like the January birthstone is a garnet. So you could highlight garnets, or you could do fun facts about garnets, and then you could show the jewelry you have in garnets. So you can do this with everything. Obviously holidays, Christmas, Halloween, Hanukkah, Valentine's Day. You can talk about, here's all my pink products because Valentine's Day is coming up. Here are all the things I've made with hearts because Valentine's Day is coming up. You can also talk about something about that, right? Like if the birthstone month, you can talk about 5 facts about that birthstone because it's that month. If it's all pinks, you can talk about the history of pink. You can talk about your history with pink and how you hate it or love it. Anything. You can use anything. You can use anything like from the big holidays to the small holidays like National Donut Day and National Puppy Appreciation Day. and tie that into talking about your thing or what you do or your history as a crafter and maker and the artist behind this work. Now, the ninth idea is this is what's going on in my month. Now, this is my very least favorite email, but I had to include it here because so many newsletters out there are like that. Now, when I teach this class in person, I always say that your emails, your marketing emails, should not be a newsletter like you would send a Christmas newsletter. You are not trying to update people on your life. They don't want to know about your life. They want to know what's in it for them. What are you doing and making and creating for them? So, I'm not a big fan of here's what's going on, but if you have a business that is very reliant on dates and locations, thinking about those of you who do a lot of craft shows or like the Yarn Over Truck Girls are in a different location with their physical truck that's a yarn store at different times, then they need to tell people, here are the places we'll be. That has to be what they include in their email because that's why people sign up. They want to see when are they going to be near me next. So the same is true if you do a lot of craft shows and you have people sign up at craft shows, then your emails should be telling them this is when I'll do the next craft show. So again, it's not really about what's going on in your month, what you're dealing with. It's more about what they've signed up because they want to hear that is related to what's going on with you. So it's not that you never talk about yourself. It's that you'll ask yourself, what is in it for the reader? What did they sign up to hear from me? If you promise that you'll send them tips and tricks for keeping their house clean, because you sell house goods, then that's what you should send them. If you promise them you'll tell them the next time you're in their area or the next time you do a craft show or the next time you do a live teaching gig, then you should tell them that. If you promise them you're going to send them lessons and updates on your podcast, you should send them that. So the main thing with all of these different types is you can experiment and combine them and send different kinds of things all the time, but you want to send people what you promised them. And if you want to change it up, like you promise them how-to tips, but now you're going to change it and it won't be how-to, it'll be a listing of your upcoming events. Just tell them, I'm going to start sending out a listing of my upcoming events, and maybe they even opt in and that's a different list, or you just change over your whole list. Now, if you're going to experiment and you haven't decided for sure, that's fine. You don't need to announce each time, I'm doing something new. You can just try and see what works. And then to see what works, I'm going to give you a couple metrics to measure. You're going to look at your open rate. Did more people open it than opened the last one? And not the number of people, but the percentage of your list, did they open it or not? Open rates are really tied to your subject lines. So it doesn't matter what content is inside. If somebody doesn't open it, then they're not going to know what's inside. So your open rate is not related to the content, it's related to your subject line. So like mess with it, try different subject lines, ask questions, make statements, say your invitation to, that one always works really well for me. Make things that like spark their curiosity, like, boy, have I got a story for you. But then you need to fulfill the promise of the subject line in the email. So if you say, boy, have I got a story for you, you better tell a pretty good story inside the email. So your open rates are related to your subject lines. The next rate you're going to look at is your click-through rate. That's the number of people who click through, and MailChimp will tell you what this is. It's people who click on a link. Now, here's the thing. If you send an email with, say, 10 links to different resources and their different websites, that's fine. If you want to provide a resource newsletter to people, totally cool. But remember that all of those links aren't going to your own shop. So what you want to do is you want to look at the click, you can then look at the click heat map, I think is what MailChimp calls it, and see what percentage of those clicks actually went to your own shop or your own site or your own thing you're doing. And if what you found, and this is what I found, but it's different in every business, is when I send a bunch of different links, I get fewer links to my own thing than if I send an email that's all about the thing I'm selling and I link directly to it. Because people click on links when they know what it leads to and they want the thing it leads to. So you may find you get a big benefit out of having a resource-based email, like full of links to other places. You may find that doesn't work for you, especially as a product seller. People might want to see a picture of your product and have a link to buy it, but you need to experiment. So you always want to make note of what you did and then what the click-through rates look like, and not just the general click-through, like, oh, 10% of people clicked the link. If you have 20 links, look at which of those links went to you. Like, you click through to the report and see which one went to you and the thing you were trying to do. And then also you can look then at how many are you selling. So I want you to remember that a percentage of people are going to open your email, a smaller percentage of people are going to click through it, and then a smaller percentage of people are actually going to buy from it. So what you're looking for is when I send an email, how many people, number of people opened, then clicked through, then actually bought. And don't get distraught if you have a small list and you don't see sales yet from your links from your emails. So these rates are vastly different. MailChimp actually publishes a list of what's expected with click-throughs and open rates, but those buy-through rates, I found a report, and I use this when I teach, when I'm going to teach at TNNA, I'm going to use it. The click-through rate from emails to purchasing, like the percentage of people who click through and then purchase on email across all industries averages out to be something like 8 to 9%. So if you had, but some businesses, depending on the business, are as low as 1% and some as high are 25 or 30%. When I'm sending emails to a small list of people who have specifically asked for something, like in the example of my pre-order, when I said you can sign up to find out about the pre-order at this place, and then I only sent an email to those people, it was a very small list of people, almost all of them opened the email. A huge percentage of them actually clicked through, and then a big percentage bought the thing because it was a very small list aimed at people who wanted to buy that specific thing. But when I sell just a general email to my whole list and I say, this podcast episode, by the way, this class is available, a smaller percentage click and then buy. So you just keep your eye on it and don't get distraught if you have 30 or 50 or 300 people on your list. If you don't get tons of sales each email, that's just the numbers working out like that. You can look at what works best, what generates the best sales and what doesn't, and you can keep experimenting. But I want you to remember that it's going to be different for every industry. It's going to be different for every kind of email, and it's going to be different for every kind of a list. Okay. So with that in mind, I want you to keep experimenting with your emails, keep being consistent. Remember, you don't have to do it every week. Once a month is totally fine. I know people email me all the time and say, you send an email every week. Should I do the same? Probably not. I have a different kind of business than you do. If you want to get my emails, you can go to tarasweiger.com/podcast40. If you scroll down and you sign up to get this transcript, which will link to everything I mentioned and give you all 9 different types of emails that you can send, you will then be signed up to hear from me each week. Or you can sign up anywhere on any of the boxes on my site if you want to see what that's like. And of course, you can unsubscribe at any time. It's one of the things we didn't talk about, but that often keeps people from sending emails because they're afraid they'll get people unsubscribing. But remember, every time somebody unsubscribes, that means your list is full of people who just want to hear from you. There are all those people who didn't unsubscribe and they want to hear from you. And you are failing them if you don't let them hear from you. So if you would like to know more about choosing which marketing tool, like even our emails for you, should you be focusing more on social media or Instagram, to help you figure all of that out, choose the tool, and then choose what you're going to say on that tool and how you're going to use it with your people. We're going to cover all of this in our new class, Elevate Your Business. It is open now and it closes January 23rd. You can find more information if you go to tarasweiger.com/elevate. That will send you to the sales page, which is on Jolie's website, but don't be distressed by that. It's our class together. So that's tarasweiger.com/elevate. And if you have any questions, I would love to hear from you. You can send an email or fill out the contact form on my website. Remember to share your pictures with the hashtag Explore Your Enthusiasm, and I wish you a wonderful, enthusiastic day. Thanks so much for watching. You can get weekly lessons like this in your inbox, along with access to worksheets and checklists and transcripts from all the podcast episodes when you sign up below. You can also subscribe on YouTube, and YouTube will notify you when there's a new video. And you can follow me on Twitter or Instagram. If you do, be sure to say hello or leave a comment below the video to let me know you're there. Thank you so much for watching, and have a very enthusiastic day.